Good morning, class 7. I am here again to continue your third chapter of Civics, how the state government works. We have done the meaning of legislative assembly, how the members of legislative assembly are elected, what is majority, and what is ruling and opposition party. After that, we have also done a debate, a sample debate in a legislative assembly where the MLAs were discussing about the problems of water shortage. Moving further, here I am going to discuss that after the discussion of MLAs, how the government works. In a democracy, there are various ways through which people express their views and also take action. Let us look at one such way. Now, after the discussion of MLA, many times press conference is held. Now we'll see what is press conference. We are referring to the example of the debate which we have done in the last lecture. The problem of water shortage was discussed between MLAs. So soon after the discussion in the assembly, there was a press conference. In that press conference, large number of people from different newspapers were present. The ministers and some government officials were also present. The minister explained the steps the government had taken. The health minister had to explain to the newspaper reporters that what steps they have discussed in the legislative assembly. Reporters asked many questions at this meeting in the press conference, and these discussions were then reported in different newspapers. That means whatever discussion, whatever answers the government has given to the reporters, they publish that in various newspapers and becomes the source for our knowledge. So in this case, where the government has taken some steps regarding health, following is one such report in the newspaper which the reporters has published after the press conference. Listen and understand this report. During the next week, the Chief Minister and Minister of Health visited Palampur district. They went to visit the families who had lost their relatives and also visited people in the hospitals. So according to this news report, the person is reading the newspaper and he is able to know that Chief Ministers and the Minister of Health, what steps they have taken to address the situation. The newspaper report also mentioned that the government announced a compensation for these families, the families who have lost their relatives. So government announced a compensation for them. The government gave money to those families. The Chief Minister said that a high-level inquiry committee will be asked to look into the needs of the district to provide sanitation facilities. The Chief Minister of State has told the reporters in the press conference that remedial actions are being taken, and the Minister for the Public Works was requested to take care of the needs of proper water supply in the region. So from these kinds of reports, people, a common man, comes to know that what actions are being taken by the government or what discussions took place in between the MLAs in the legislative assembly. And we came to know that the people in power like Chief Minister and the other ministers have to take actions. They do so through various departments like Public Works Departments, Agriculture Department, Health Department, the Education Department, and so on. This we have already discussed also. They also have to answer questions that are asked in legislative assembly. Now children, very important thing, that why the government is doing all this, why the government is taking so many actions, why the government are answering so many questions to the people of press conference, because the government is answerable. People have chosen the government. Now the government is answerable to us that what steps you have taken. The ruling party is answerable to the opposition party. The opposition party will ask the question in the legislative assembly that what actions have you taken? The government have to convince people asking the question that proper steps are being taken. At the same time, the newspapers and the media widely discuss the issue and government has to respond. Along with discussing the problems and taking steps by the government can also decide to make new laws. If there is a need for a new law, the government can take actions and they can also decide to make a new law. For example, it may make it compulsory for municipal corporations to ensure that there are adequate toilets in every urban area. It may also ensure that a health worker is appointed in every village. Like this, the government can decide to make multiple new laws that are in favor or for the welfare of the general public. This act of making laws on certain issues is done in Legislative Assembly of each state with the approval of all the members of Legislative Assembly. With this, the topics are finished. We come to conclusion. We can conclude by saying that in a democracy, it is the people who elect their representatives as MLAs. We have seen that the state is divided into various constituencies and from each constituencies one MLA is selected and thus it is the people who have the main authority. So people of the state elects MLAs of that particular state. The ruling party members then form the government and some members are appointed ministers from the ruling party. These ministers are in charge of various departments of the government. We have seen the education, health, forest department, agriculture. Number of departments are there. Whatever work is done by these departments has to be approved by the members of Legislative Assembly. So I hope the system of the working of the state government is clear to you. With this, our Chapter 3, How the State Government Works, is over. Thank you.